Well, if you've been watching this week, you know we've been dedicating our top story to you, the people. We've been bringing in people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, but with basic core issues of concern in this presidential election. We call it We the People, where we hear from two people each day about whatever it is that's on their mind. Not experts, not people with political agendas, just people with issues and concerns, just like all of us. And so I'd like for you to meet my guests today, Chris Connor and Lacey Grizzly. And by way of background, Chris Connor is 33 years old, married, father of two. He is a media consultant and concerned this election year about the economy. Lacey Grizzly, 28 years old. She is a single student who's trying to earn money for tuition as a case manager for at-risk youth. Her big concern this election season? Taxes. Chris and Lacey, welcome to the program. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Chris, let me start with you. You are a father of two. You have two young children. You are concerned as you watch through this election cycle about the economy. What specifically is on your mind?
Well, Art, specifically, it's living week to week. I'm a small business owner, so I am certainly an at-risk American. Someone whose income is not necessarily consistent. My wife has a job. There's a steady paycheck. But for me, I don't know when week to week I might be just out of luck. Will it be a month-long drought? Will it be a 3-month-long drought? Hard to say.
Sure.
People aren't spending as much.
It's the nature of the consulting business. So do you feel that as though you're in a void where the issues are concerned, is that you may be in one category at one point, but yet again you may be in a whole different category, but where the elected officials are looking at you is that you are clearly in this category, which might not be to your benefit?
In a sense, when you look at the overall picture, I'm not the small business owner who's in that making over $1 million class. That's not me. I'm on the smaller side. So it's not a matter of, okay, I lost some money, but we're secure. If I lose money, my family loses out. There's no cushion.
Lacey, I guess it's a little bit like that for you as well, particularly being a student where you're supposed to be still in the cultivating stage where you're still taking in information, but yet you've got to pay taxes too.
Yes, definitely. And my big concern is more long term. Right now I do have a steady job. My concern though is as I move into my next career, I'm now studying nursing, and what's going to happen down the line. Right now, I'm in an income bracket where I think everybody wants to cut my taxes. I work for a nonprofit, so I'm not raking in oodles of money. But down the line, I'm more concerned about getting a job that pays well. And there's a nursing shortage, and everybody wants nurses. But if you're looking at employers, and they're going to be taxed. I've never gotten a job from a poor man. I get my jobs from people who have the money to pay me, but the less money they have, the less money they have to pay me.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not in it all for the money. I want to be a nurse.
Yeah, but you want to make a living, like everybody wants to make a good living.
Sure, and I want to, get a return on my investment of the education. I'm going to school at night. I'm working all day, so.
Which candidate do you feel better addresses your concerns? As everything you just laid out right there, as you've been listening to them and watching on the campaign trail, which candidate do you feel better addresses that concern?
I feel like John McCain has a more long-term vision for that and really seeing what the effects of fiscal policies are going to be. Barack Obama's coming and he's got a lot of hope and he's got a lot of energy, and that's wonderful, but hope's not a strategy. I need more than that. I need something a little bit more substantive, and John McCain's got a lot of experience, and he's been through a lot of economic changes to really see what policy does, in real practice.
Sure. No, I understand. That's a very good point. Chris, I ask you the same question. As your concerns play out for you every day, which candidate seems to better address your concerns?
Well, I'm on the other side of the coin, Art. I'm with Obama, and my chief concern has been over the last couple of years tax cuts for people who don't necessarily need tax cuts. I'm all for a free market economy, I'm a pretty laissez-faire guy, but there has to be a cap on who gets what breaks. I think the issue is deregulation and the effects of trickle down not happening.
Right. Well, and when you talk about taxes, and there's been so much talk about this, Barack Obama says that if you're making less than $250,000 a year, you'll fall in one category. You're not going to be taxed at all. I mean, you're not at that. You're not going to get an increase in your taxes. There are various stages, obviously, in the income bracket where it pretty much lays out the chart on where you're going to fall for that particular tax year. Is that a good strategy for you? Have you looked at that? Have you studied it to see how it applies to you?
I've examined it, and that's our income bracket. That's where we are. We are firmly in what has to be called the new middle class, because I think when we were growing up, certainly $250,000 and down was not middle class. Obviously, a lot of the pundits have been beating that drum about the eradication of the middle class. I think once you establish $250,000 as the peak of middle class, absolutely. If the average American family is pulling in, I think, $42,000 a year,
right.
Is that about right?
That's about right. According to the research.
According to the research, $250,000 is way up there, but apparently not enough for a lot of families.
John McCain had the numbers a lot higher on his end. Again, Lacey, when you talk about just in terms of the tax structure, are you comfortable with the way John McCain lays it out and lays out how he sees the categories of American earning?
Well, I'm not really comfortable with the way anybody lays it out. I mean, one of the things that I really see is I live in New Jersey. It's one of the more expensive states, cost of living wise. My brother and his 2 kids, three kids, and his wife live in California, which, the
Wow.
costs there are exorbitant. My parents, though, they live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So they're doing well. Now, if I'm making $250,000, I'm doing great. I'm single, it's fine. My brother,
Particularly if you're in Tennessee versus California.
Exactly. Well, and my brother, he's got 3 girls. He's got to send them to college. He's got the mortgage payment. He's got a lot more concerns. So $250,000 in Southern California is not a lot of money. But if you're in Tennessee, you're in Kentucky, you're in Kansas, you're making $250. You're doing great.
Let me just ask you guys as we wrap this up a final question about the economy. How concerned are you? How confident are you that eventually you're going to come out of this and that you're going to be okay, and that for the next 4 years you're going to be better off than you were the previous 4 years? Chris, I'll give you the first word.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be 4 years necessarily. This seems to be a sort of cycle the likes of which we haven't seen in some time. The Great Depression lasted nearly a decade. This could be a decade. This could be through Senator Obama or Senator McCain's first cycle. But I'm prepared to say within 5 years, we should be on an upturn.
And you feel pretty good, though, that you will survive it and you'll be okay?
Absolutely.
With your media consulting. And Lacey, I'll ask you the same question.
Well, some people say that it takes about 7 years for fiscal policy to really rear its head. Ronald Reagan, he enacted a lot of the trickle-down things that people are afraid of and, think don't work. But that started to come into play with the first George Bush. And then when Clinton got into office, he really reaped the benefits of that, I feel. And, things were fine once he got out. And then we got George Bush. And he really,
you can say it. It's okay. He didn't do too well. It's all right.
And we're seeing towards the end now, I think the impact of a lot of the decisions he made. He had a lot of bad spending and that sort of thing. So I think it will take a while. But my concern is we need to turn it around now. And I really see Barack Obama, he's got a great vision, but I don't think it's the right way to go. I really, feel like in 4 years, if we keep attacking our upper classes, we're going to end up like Russia, standing in a breadline in Minsk. I don't want to, end up spreading the wealth around to where there's not jobs for us to earn our wealth.
Sure, I follow you. Well, guys, I think you've both laid your cases out pretty well and your issues and your concerns, and we pull for you. We certainly hope for the best with your media consulting as you go through your studies and move on up with your career, and I appreciate you both coming in to talk to me.
On air, online, on demand. Watch AFR when you want, where you want with CN8, the Comcast network.